have blown up with your videos like Minecraft, Slenderman, and the list goes on. Happy Wheels is another one. I want to know, has there ever been a game that maybe you tried to play for like a Let's Play or any sort of like series that just didn't work out? That like you were going through the process and all of a sudden things just weren't clicking enough that maybe you had to go back to the drawing board?
Yeah, I mean, you know, that happens. It happens sometimes because it's tough to get into a flow of a new game. Well, I mean, with the way I do it, like I would sit down and just start playing and not plan on editing it. So, you know, and I kind of had the mentality of like, if it sucks, you know, I'll post it anyway, but I'll have a couple other videos that'll go up that day. So, you know, people will be more forgiving. It doesn't really work that well now just because YouTube favors watch time a lot. And if you post videos that get really low watch time, your videos that are awesome sometimes are, you know, super negatively affected. So it kind of, you know, when I play something and it just isn't really feeling good in the past. I mean, I would still just like throw it up online sometimes, but now it's like, you know, if I watch it back and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of boring. Like, and I can't make it funny. It's the worst feeling ever. But let me think of is there a game that I can?
Have you ever had to redo one, like just complete, just
start
from scratch?
Oh my God, yeah. One time I recorded 15 episodes of Fallout New Vegas, and it was a while back. But then my laptop got stolen, and I was like, no. So like, oh my God, no, I'm sorry. Was it that? Yeah, it was that. But also, same thing happened to Dead Space, sort of, where I recorded a bunch of episodes, but like an idiot, I wasn't looking at the files I was recording, and I didn't realize until I was like, you know, 10 or so episodes in, and there were awesome episodes. And I was same with the Fallout ones, and then they were just gone. Like they were super corrupted, and there's nothing. Like the audio was ruined, and there's nothing. So always check your settings and don't trust technology ever.
Right? Definitely, like that's mandatory.
Or the internet.
Yeah, don't trust technology, because like sooner or later you're gonna be that person like everybody else that has to redo something because either something got corrupted, you saved over something, you didn't save something.
Oh my God, dude! No, I actually had to back up. So this was like, it was very frustrating because I was at this point I was like 3 or 4 hours into Dead Space, and so I restarted the game. And got up to that point again, and then in the episode, I'm like, I'm just gonna pretend I didn't re-record this, and I just like, just kind of went for it again, and I kept making jokes about how the episodes were like this time they were just not as funny. I made a really funny joke there, not this time.
That's crazy.
It ended up, you know, I got through it, but oh my, it's a horrible feeling. It's just a thing that happens, and this happened like on all my channels, of course. But then when it happens, you're like, all right, I'm just gonna knock it out again, and then I'll feel bad about it later. And that's a pretty good strategy. Otherwise, you can let it get to you because it is frustrating.
True. So speaking of those video stuff, like the games that we mentioned before, again, Slenderman, Minecraft, Happy Wheels. Did you ever expect like some of those games, or even those games in particular, to get as big or as popular as they did?
No, totally not. I think. My mentality of like, you know, I'm just gonna go for it and just, you know, make this like as experience the game, you know, as viscerally as I can and just see what happens. But then some of them after the episode would happen, I'm like, oh my God, that was hilarious the whole time. Like I hope people get, you know, people can see that, because you know, sometimes I would get into a flow on Minecraft, which is just this game that's like super, like so therapeutic.
You get in the zone
and relaxing. Yeah, that it puts you into this like Buddhist focused state.
That Zen-like state.
Yeah, Zen-like state. Steak.
I said steak, did I?
I would love to have a Zen steak.
Oh man.
No, but yeah. So sometimes you just, you know, you get into and like on a roll, and I would feel like I really want people to see this, and I guess I would have the feeling of, I think this would do well, but you really don't expect it to, because it, you know, was literally me recording for 10 minutes at a time. When Happy Wheels was blowing up, you know, and the videos were getting like 1 million views every day, and I would have to sit down and be like, oh my God, I have to record this, and it has to be one take, because I'm not going to edit it because I have to do my other channels, and like if it's not funny, a million people are going to be like, this is not funny. So it's pretty stressful.
Got to do it live.
Yeah, do it live.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that's crazy. So you play a lot of games overall. Again, you play a lot of different variety of games from what I saw on some of your channels and what we've even talked about now. Is there one thing in the gaming industry, again, having been exposed to it, in one facet or another, that you feel like could be better or can be improved upon?
I mean, well, yeah, if I could just add the ability to freaking quick save in any game, always, that would just be good for me. Because, like, I mean, it's obviously that would ruin a lot of games. But, like, there's so many games where you just can't, like, that are like Elder Scrolls games, but which you can quick save in, which has screwed me over sometimes because you would quick save, like, the second before I would die sometimes.
Yeah.
But, like, if you could just do that, because there's stuff that happens sometimes in the middle of the game, like that you, like, I don't know, you miss or whatever, you want to go back. I would love to add that. I mean, I can't imagine that would really be a good for like a game like Cuphead.
True. Quick save. Well, actually, no. Cuphead might be good. Quick save, quick load, especially right before you die.
Yeah. But then you would just like incrementally like get through it like one bullet at a time. Like, depending on how bad you are.
Get those trophies.
But that could be cool. I mean, if they, like, there should be, like, some kind of overall computer plugin that allows you to save progress in any freaking game. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe that's not possible. But, I hope for it every day.
One day, I feel like at some point, as games get older, especially we see a lot of that with emulators and a lot of other games that are older.
Yeah.
Like that 16, 32-bit era that get that, when they're ported to other platforms and stuff. And I think eventually, as we go forward, we're going to start seeing the games that we start playing now, or even only a couple years ago, probably get some sort of similar treatment years from now, moving forward, which would be interesting.
Yeah.
So I want to know, because besides gaming, okay, you've done some acting, which I didn't know until I looked it up. You did a little bit of acting. You were on 2 films, okay, or a few films that were mentioned. One was called Nulo, one was called Smiley. But also there was this little show that probably not a lot of people heard about it. It was on Cartoon Network. Unfortunately, nobody's heard of Cartoon Network, right? I mean, come on. The Annoying Orange, okay? You were the only human character on The Annoying Orange.
I was the human.
The human guy.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was so fun. It was cool because a lot of the scripts that they would give me, they would let me kind of rework them myself.
Really?
Whenever I wanted, and they thought I was funny enough to give me that kind of comedic, whatever the word is, to like allow me to sort of play with the script. And I would kind of pitch lines before we would do a scene, and the director would be like, "Yeah, that's great, do it." Or we would just kind of rework like that. It was so fun. And also, like, there were like 20 people on set, and I was the only one on camera. So, great for my ego. But it was also like I was scared at first until when you get into a show or a movie environment where everybody just wants to make the best thing they can make. The interactions, like, and it's all like a genuine, like, we had a really good group. Like, every day it was like heaven. It was so fun.
That brings me to my next question I want to ask, which is a perfect segue, is like, how challenging was the transition going from doing YouTube content or scripted YouTube content that, again, you were really in a lot of creative control with, to doing something like The Annoying Orange, which is a TV show with a team of people, etc.?
How challenging was it to not have to do any of the work? Super easy. Like, I mean, that's how I felt. Like, because as soon as I would leave, I'm like, I'm going to go edit for 12 hours. But like, it was great because you show up and you can focus on the creative, which is where the funny stuff comes out of. Which you can do that obviously in editing also. It's just it takes a lot of the stress off. I liked it a lot. I think it was challenging to be like, all right, I actually have to learn some lines. But that was just so much more fun than challenging. I mean, it was challenging, but it was a blast.
Interesting. Let me ask you then, like, was there any like lessons or stuff that you learned while you were doing that show that you brought with you back to YouTube and implemented to your own content?
Oh, wow. Did I learn from my, I think, I don't know. I felt more, wow, I don't know. Maybe did I become less, I guess what would happen is instead I would try to work out my scripts maybe a little bit more in advance. You know, which I think is good and bad, because some of my stuff that I think is the funniest stuff that I do, like I would do rants where I just complain about whatever that sucks, and later on I would write it to where the script was hilarious instead of stumbling around. So yeah, I think it made me become more structured.
That's good.
Whether that's good or bad. Yeah.
No, I think that's a great thing. I think, like, you know, as you do different projects, obviously you get little pieces.
You can keep them organized, yeah.
Exactly, and you know, you
being an adult,
you can implement new stuff into the stuff that you really are passionate about, and, you know, have a good combination of cool content, which is interesting. So
but you also lose you lose that little bit of a ability of, I mean, you don't necessarily lose it. So I still would wing it, but if I kind of went in with more of an idea and didn't plan it out and just planned to edit a lot after the fact, I would just go off on these random tangents more, which, you know, there's definitely a balance with that. I actually wrote a book, which is in my cartoon world, called Tobuscus Adventures. It's not out yet. It comes out next year sometime.
Nice.
But but I started just kind of writing it, and I would go off on these tangents because I didn't have a structure for the book, which were hilarious. But in the end, like, you can't do, because a book is a lot of words put together, and it's like I didn't have kind of a like it took me like 6 months to figure out that, like, this isn't going to work. I have to kind of delete all of this stuff. But on God, am I making sense? But on YouTube, when I'm stumbling around, because the videos were more like 3 minutes, when you go off on these ridiculous tangents, that worked a lot better, I think, than in book form. And if you ever read the book, it's a great read.
Definitely check it out when it's out.
Yeah, please. But you'll see what I'm talking about. I mean, they go on this like series of adventures, and it's got a nice little happy ending, or does it? I don't know. Does it? I don't know.
Maybe it might be a horror.
Maybe.
You never know. Right. Cliffhanger.